Hey! Oh, hey Natalie, thank you so much for coming to speak to me today. You are like coming up to a year of your membership, which is so awesome. So I couldn't help but catch up to you with you, and thank you so much for agreeing to kind of like have this interview discussion thing. We're going to gabble on about your journey and you and how awesome you've done and how the membership sort of helped you along the way. So for people who have never seen your face before, which I'm sure people have because there's lots of little clips of you all over my social media working out with baby George, would you like to introduce yourself, who you are, and anything you'd like to tell us about lovely you?
Hey, I'm Natalie. I'm 29 and I'm from South Gloucestershire. I'm a maths teacher and I've wanted to be a mum for forever. George is now 14 months and he was an IVF baby. He was born at 35 weeks and was an emergency cesarean, but he's now a wonderful, happy, gorgeous little boy. Saw your advert on Facebook. It must have come up because I've been looking for loads of different mummy and baby things to do, because we couldn't do any of the sort of antenatal classes or anything like that. I really wanted to get involved with all the mummy and baby stuff I could, but a lot of it was shut due to COVID. So online classes were the way to go. So when I saw yours, it was like brilliant. George was only about 10 weeks when I first saw it, so I wasn't able to exercise yet. So I did a little bit of research behind it. You had the free trial. I watched it to see if that's the sort of thing that I wanted to get involved with. And then when I got the all clear from the doctor, I gave it a go. I gave it a go without George to start with, because I was just wanted to make sure. And he was so small when he was born that he wouldn't fit in the carrier to begin with anyway. So it was quite nice to do it by myself. And then
Yeah, you had a teeny weeny, didn't you? Because he was quite early, George.
Yeah, so he was five weeks early. So he was only £4.5 when he was born. So it took a while for him to be able to fit into the carrier that I've got. But yeah, so he absolutely loves it. Really, really loves it.
And what did you think of the classes when you first started doing the classes?
The thing I loved the most was the really cheesy music to begin with.
I like to get a bit of cheese in there sometimes.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for a cheesy song. If it always makes me feel happy, and I like to sort of dance around the kitchen and sing a song. My husband's always doing the joke, "Oh, who sings that song?" And I'll say whoever it is, and he'll say, "Oh yeah, let's keep it that way," because I can't sing. I like to sing and I like to dance, but I can't do it. I really loved the fact that I could do it whenever I wanted to, because as everybody knows with a newborn, they want to feed, sleep and use their nappy whenever they want to. So having a structure can be really, really difficult. But yeah, being able to pause it if I wanted to, and go back to it another time was really good.
Yeah, of course, because you can get the classes on replay. So if like when the live class is on, you have a great big punami and you end up having to deal with poo everywhere, you haven't missed it because you can do it at another time.
Even the live classes were really flexible because people were so just happy with you popping in and you've missed the first two songs, just do a quick warm up to make sure you're okay and then join in with the rest of it. So it wasn't if you'd missed a little bit or you had to miss the end, it wasn't the end of the world. So yeah, it was really nice to have that flexibility.
I'm quite I like to really try and put levels all the way through the classes so that you're able, so if you are new to exercise or if you're a proper gym bunny or you've got different levels to go. Was that helpful? Did you find that you could work up and down the levels?
Absolutely, yeah, it was so good, especially with things like arms. So I've always felt like my legs were quite strong, but my arms definitely not. My upper body strength was basically non-existent, especially after having George. And that was one of the things I really wanted to work on, was feeling like I had the strength to look after George in every possible way. So being able to work up the levels with the weights or not weights, or using arms but not arms, whatever you wanted to do, and having you show us how to build that in if you want to. So you could do it for one song but not another song, or you could do it for one arm movement and not another arm movement. However, it made it so much easier. and being able to practice that out after as well was really good. George has absolutely loved these classes from when he was a few months old all the way up to now. When he gets in the carrier, his little legs are sort of kicking around, and he loves to be facing forward so that he can see you on the TV, and he's sort of smiling and laughing. And then we've got loads of videos of him just absolutely loving it, which makes it so much easier, because you're doing two things in one. You're engaging with your baby, you're bonding with your baby. So it's more than two things, because you're exercising as well, and you're supporting yourself, and it's brilliant. So it makes his day, and it also means that he often wants a nap afterwards, which is really good, because you get to rest,
have a cup of tea, and you get
yeah.
So how has your journey been in regards to your postnatal rehabilitation? So I'm talking coming into the membership, how are you feeling about your pelvic floor and your stomach and your strength, and how's that helped you along that journey to get to now, where I know you feel really confident that your pelvic floor is strong and your body is strong, and you did, was it last month you did 2,000 squats in a month? Like, what? So how have you found, and how's the membership helped you on that journey from feeling quite kind of weak, and what's the opposite of strong? Unstrong. How weak is it? Weak. When you came into the membership, so now it's where you are now with your strength.
So at the end of my pregnancy, I had quite a weak pelvic floor, and I had my waters had actually broken 31 weeks. So I'd had nearly 4 weeks of my waters sort of leaking. So my pelvic floor was being sort of crushed at the same time, because all the weight of the baby was there. And by the time George was born, I was having quite a lot of problems. So one of the first things that I did when I signed up to your membership was to go through those videos of helping your pelvic floor, so making sure you're breathing at the right time and holding your pelvic floor at the right time, and making sure that you are focusing on it whenever you're bending, so whenever you're squatting or lifting anything. And it didn't take too long actually before I started to notice a real difference, before I could pick George up without having to really think about, oh, careful, because you've already had a drink like 10 minutes ago, and you don't need to be struggling with that. I worked through that, and then did a little bit before joining the classes, and found that when I was then in the classes, I was able to work on my pelvic floor each time, and within a few weeks I was able to do it without necessarily thinking about it. My body was just, you have that muscle memory, don't you, where your body's then like, right, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Yeah. So I was able to, when we were doing like the squats, I was still at level 1 at this point, not going any further than that, but was happy to be doing that, breathing properly, making sure I was listening, working on my TAs at the same time, and gradually felt much more confident. Then was happy to go up to the other levels, and but only because my pelvic floor and my TAs were much better. I can remember quite a few months ago now, we were doing some work in the garden, and I realised afterwards that whilst I was shifting the stones, doing some quite heavy lifting, I wasn't thinking about it, but I was automatically using the correct muscles, engaging everything that I was meant to be doing. And that is why I felt okay afterwards, because I'd learned all those skills and done everything that I needed to be doing. And my body was automatically strong without me having to take a second and think, right, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I've done, so I did manage to do 2 different challenges this year. So I did the run a mile every day in January, and then 2,000 squats in September, which I used all your videos for, and I couldn't have done it without them. I tried to do a couple of days without using your videos. I was like, oh, I can just, I'll just squat whilst I'm watching something else on the television, and it just wasn't the same. It felt like they were going on forever and ever. I needed some good cheesy music to have, and for you to be saying, right, like to because you were doing different types of squats and things like that. So it really helped me to keep going with it and have the enthusiasm to keep going. So yeah, I'm really confident now. And I think if we were to ever have more children, then I'd be using the same sort of techniques for the next postnatal rehabilitation as well.
Yeah, wow. So everything you've learned now, you will now be able to use for the rest of your life. So that, like exactly what you're saying about moving the rocks in your garden, you've got that now forever. So that work that you put in, which might have been a bit tedious at the time, now you're going to benefit that for like the rest of your life. And everything that you've learned in exercise, in classes with me, you're also going to take forward. Like, do you feel like you could walk into a different exercise class and everything that you've learned, you'd be able to kind of like use it in the class?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that that when I'm doing certain movements, I need to be either breathing in or breathing out at certain times, because that will be helping my core. I need to be engaging certain muscles. I'm still not 100% every time I'm meant to be engaging my bum muscles. They don't always want to work, but but normally, yeah, absolutely, I'm much more confident. I've been going to be using some of the weights that my husband's got, because going to be trying to work on that upper body strength a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
So.
Nice, awesome. And if you've come across any problems of that while you're in the membership, just give me a shout. I'm more than happy to help you work out when engaging and breathing and pelvic floor stuff comes in, even with lifting. Because even when you're doing upper body, you're still using the pelvic floor, putting pressure into your tummy, which you'll recognise now because you can recognise how that feels. So you'll probably work it out yourself anyway.
Yeah. So when we were doing something the other day, my husband was saying, right, okay, get into position. And I said, right, okay, I just need to wait. I just need to make sure that I'm sort of engaged.
Yeah.
And then go, because I don't want to, I need to make sure that I am safe. I need to make sure that my posture is correct for me, and that all the correct muscles that are there to support me.
So another thing I like to try and get across to members is this kind of like thought of trying to get away from what our body looks like and feeling the pressure to look a certain way or to snap back into the pre-baby body and all those messages. I like to try and encourage my members to kind of step away from that and almost look at your body as a vessel that is allowing you to live your motherhood adventures, carry a baby, do all the awesome things it allows you to do, and to concentrate more on nurturing your body into strength and to build a strong body that can do awesome things for you and your children, rather than building a body that looks good to the outside world. I wonder how did you find that message throughout the membership, and did that help you in any way? What was your journey like from that kind of point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. The making sure that you are looking at your body as being strong rather than physically attractive to anybody else, and being happy with it yourself was definitely a big theme that came through, and that really helped me. I had friends saying things like, yeah, but you've bounced back really well, as if that was a target for me, that I needed to look exactly how I looked before. And now I'm more than happy with how I am. I feel really strong, both physically and sort of emotionally with everything, because I feel like I've got a lot of support. And my body has changed. There's absolutely no denying that. I've had to buy bigger clothes, which I'm more than okay with. My body has changed. It grew a baby. My hips are wider. I've got a little bit of a mum tum that people call it. I'm more than okay with that. That's okay. And it gives me an excuse to go shopping, to go and buy some more clothes. And why should I try and fit back into those clothes that I fit into before? Because I'm not the same person that I was before. So why should I try and be that person by wearing the same stuff? And let's face it, I'm going to go buy a pair of black jeans. It doesn't matter what label they've got inside them, whether they're the size I was before or the size I am now. So yeah, I love it.
It literally like makes me feel emotional hearing you say that. I actually got tears in my eyes.
I had such a love-hate relationship with my body when I first started. Like, I loved it. It had grown George finally, and it was brilliant. And I was finally really happy that I'd been able to do that. But at the same time, I felt quite weak. Having the cesarean wasn't what I'd wanted to do, and it had stopped me being able to do things that I felt like I should be able to do, like drive for 6 weeks and then being able to exercise and stuff like that. So being able to work on that and really love myself as my body has been brilliant. And I've never minded my stretch marks at all. That's not something that's bothered me. But now I'm not afraid to show them at all. So when I take George swimming and things, they're there. I go swimming. People see the stretch marks. That's just part of having a baby. Yeah. So.
And you know what? Like, being like that and feeling that and allowing your stretch marks to be on shirt will also be empowering other women as well. So you're like, you're like taking that message out into the world with you too. And I've just remembered it was you with the nurse. It was you who put the post on in the group, I think, wasn't it? With the nurses with baby George.
Oh yeah. So George had an operation when he was about 10 months old on his eyes, and so we went in for the day, and there were all these incredible doctors and nurses, and they were all just amazing, and they knew exactly what to do. And George was sort of looking around the room because he's very observant of things, and especially after he had his operation, he could sort of see things differently. And I went to say to him, look at those pretty nurses. And then was like, hang on a second, they didn't get to where they are because they're pretty. They got to where they are because they're clever and they're persistent and determined and caring and all that kind of thing. So it made me really think about what I'm saying to George about women in general and him in general. So when he does something that I think is really good, so like he's learning to pull himself up and stuff like that, we're now talking about how strong he is rather than like, oh, look at you're gorgeous and things like that. Obviously I do call him gorgeous, I'm a little bit biased, but but it's about strength and being clever and determined and all that kind of stuff, rather than seeing someone and saying, oh, aren't they beautiful? Don't you like their hair or their clothes or anything like that? It should be about what they are and who they are, rather than how they look.
Yes, amen. Yeah, like totally taking the power away from how somebody looks aesthetically on the outside and giving them the power for who they are on the inside and like what their body is achieving for them, rather than how it's looking for them. It's like it's like a whole new world, isn't it? It's like spinning it on its head.
I saw something on Facebook, I think it was just this morning actually. Somebody had shared something that said that they'd walked into their living room and their little girl was drawing stretch marks on their tummy because they wanted to be like their mum. Oh my God, it made me cry. I was like, that is so brilliant, because the little girl, it admires her mum, and the stretch marks are part of her. So she wants to do that. And I thought that was incredible.
That's so awesome. And that girl will then grow up to not be scared of stretch marks. Like, how many of us before we got pregnant have gone, oh, I hope I don't get stretch marks.
Yeah.
And then dreaded them on the other side. Like,
and then all the mum kits that you get come with creams for stretch marks or oils for stretch marks, because heaven forbid you get any. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Not like nice candles to help you relax or nice bath stuff to help you put your feet up or anything. It's stuff to make you look good after you've had your baby.
Yeah, so aesthetically on the outside, the world can see you looking how you're meant to look.
Yeah.
It's about calling bull to it. Like, I call bull to that.
But women are so criticised constantly. If a woman is seen to be the same size that she was before she had her baby too quickly, then she doesn't care about her baby. She's not spending enough time with her baby. She's obviously spending too much time exercising and eating not the right things. And then if you're not seen to go back to the body that you had before, then you're not doing enough about it. So it's great. It's not fair, because you can't win, and it should be absolutely okay, and it's more than okay to have a different body afterwards. You're a different person. You have new roles, you have new responsibilities. You probably see life in a different way than you did before. So have a different body to go along with it. As long as you're healthy, I don't see the problem in it.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly said. Nice. Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you for chatting to me today. Thank you for sharing your story. That hopefully is going to inspire other women too. And thank you for just being part of the membership. You've been an awesome part of the membership. I love seeing your faces in classes, and yeah, thanks for just being here, and thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you so much for all your support. You've been absolutely amazing. I don't think I definitely wouldn't have got to this sort of position without all your support, so thank you very much.
You are so welcome. Shall we finish our interview just like we finish classes?
Yeah.
With some love. Here's some love. Here's some love. I can't get both my eyes in there. I can only get one. How did you do that? Have you just got big hands or a little... Oh, there.